It is especially important for people who use insulin to participate in annual diabetes self-management education. Insulin-treated diabetics are at a higher risk of having high or low blood sugar symptoms that can result in a car accident. Over time, uncontrolled diabetes can result in a heart attack, stroke, or overall bad health. Let's start by understanding what is diabetes, sometimes called diabetes mellitus. Diabetes is a chronic condition that affects the way the body produces a hormone called insulin. The pancreas is the organ that produces insulin. Diabetes affects the pancreas's ability to produce insulin, causing it to make too much, too little, none at all. Insulin's number one job is to move sugar out of the bloodstream into cells. Cells use sugar for energy or fuel so the body's cells can work properly. Carbohydrates, or carbs, are a type of sugar. When you eat carbohydrates, bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, sweets, or drink carbohydrates, soda, milk, fruit juice, sugary drinks, your body converts it, through the digestive process, into sugar and dumps it into the bloodstream. Insulin removes the sugar from the bloodstream into cells. If your pancreas does not produce enough insulin to process the sugar starts to build up in your blood and urine. What's the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes? Type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a genetic disease that usually develops in children or young adults. The pancreas does not produce insulin when you have type 1 diabetes. Therefore, type 1 diabetics need insulin to live. What is type 2 diabetes? Type 2 diabetes is a manageable condition that occurs when your pancreas does not produce enough insulin or your body's cells develop a resistance to insulin. We will discuss insulin resistance later. Often overweight or obese people will develop type 2 diabetes. People with a family history of type 2 diabetes are at higher risk to develop this condition. Treatment of type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a condition that can be managed with diet, exercise, oral medication, insulin injections. Insulin. Insulin injections are used to treat both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. It is important to understand how it works. Insulin is a hormone made by the pancreas. Insulin moves sugar from the bloodstream into cells. Cells use sugar as a form of fuel or energy. Insulin works like a key to unlock the cell door so that blood sugar can enter. Once the sugar enters the cell, it can then be used as fuel. In other words, your body is made up of billions of cells. All cells need sugar for fuel or energy. Insulin acts like a fueling nozzle that allows sugar to get into the cells so it can be converted into energy. Insulin resistance, or IR, is a condition in which the body's cells become resistant to the effects of insulin. When the body becomes resistant to insulin, the pancreas tries to cope by producing more insulin. In other words, the cell's normal response to insulin is reduced and more insulin is needed to have the same effect. Cells require more insulin to be unlocked and to allow sugar to enter. People with insulin resistance are often producing too much insulin than the healthy people. Insulin resistance is common in type 2 diabetics. It is associated with obesity and lack of exercise. Insulin resistance can cause high blood sugar. Exercise can reduce the effects of insulin resistance. Diabetes self-management education can improve diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a genetic disease. Type 1 diabetics need insulin to live. Type 2 diabetics are often overweight or have a family history of diabetes. Insulin helps sugar get into the cells. Sugar is used by cells for fuel or energy. Insulin is used to treat type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Insulin resistance can cause high blood sugar. Exercise can reduce the effects of insulin resistance.